Hi there, everybody. Yes, it's the Gun Cranks, the show that 4 out of 5 dentists believe cause tooth decay. I'm your Guns Magazine editor, Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor, Tom McHale, and this is a four-way show. We're getting crazy with this. We've got Erick Gelhaus, who is the... Yes? Yes? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying exercise caution with your words. We're on the internet.
This is a four-person show. We've got Erick Gelhaus, the editor of American Cop, and we've got Nic Lenze. He is our video guy. You've heard us talk about him and make fun of him, and I believe we got the two-finger salute 2 episodes ago from Nic, so we've convinced Nic to join us. Thanks for joining us. This should be an entertaining one, and it should be a contentious show because we're going to talk about appendix carry. I'm not sure what we're going to title the show right at this moment, but basically it's something about the cool kids, because really it's only the cool kids that are doing this, and the troglodytes like me just can't get there. Now, having said that, that's truly not the case. I have actually started carrying appendix when I go on my walks. Okay, guys, let me lay out why I'm a hater on the appendix. There's a safety issue, but I will even grudgingly say the odds of you, if you're suicidal, you carry appendix in a Serpa holster, but 99.9999 times out of 100, you're going to be fine. You're not going to shoot yourself. But for me, truly, and this is the deal breaker, it's just not comfortable, especially sitting down. And I've talked to people that, oh yeah, it's fine, and it just ain't for me. So I don't know. You know, that's my problem. I don't really truly have a problem with the appendix carry, and if it works for you, God bless you. But I can't get it for me unless I know I'm going to be walking around. So there you have it, gentlemen. That's my position. Someone tell me I'm an idiot.
I have no words. You just admitted that you carry appendix sometimes.
I do, occasionally.
On global television.
Yes.
I have no words. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, well, I think you said something really important, and at the end there, when you said if it's for you, fine. If it's not, then that's okay too. I think one of the big problems in this industry in general is it's just so A or B, but really it's what's comfortable and works for you. There's so many different body types and so many different needs that people have. For me specifically, I prefer appendix because of control. I like to know that it's always there where I put it. I have small children. I don't want something behind me ever. I want to always know exactly where it is and make sure that no one else has control.
Nic, you're wrong.
I know. And I guarantee you half the comments on this are
I agree with
exactly
the point you're
that.
making. I just wanted to be binary. Try out that gun guy thing, you know. It's like there's only this way. So
well, binary doesn't work anymore, Tom.
So I started carrying appendix back in 2013. A buddy of mine who'd come out of the military had talked me into it.
I was so frightened when you said buddy came out, but
no,
anyway.
From the military. Talked me into
Hey, it's whatever you are, man. Real American hero.
And over time, what I found is it's actually easier to carry a larger gun that way than to carry a smaller gun that way. I was trying with one of the original first-gen M&P compacts, which is it was awful short pistol and it didn't work well. Once I started carrying either a full-size M&P, Glock 19 Gen 2 M&P compact with a wedge that kind of extended the length of the holster and helped push the butt of the gun back into my tummy better, it got a whole lot more comfortable. I've got a number of appendix holsters, whether Kydex or leather, and that's the key. It's got to be Kydex or leather, not something made out of nylon, not something cheap with a little spring clip on it. Take the time to figure out a wedge or some sort of padding, not necessarily for comfort, but that'll help you set the holster up to where it conceals the gun best by not letting the grip flop out, but by push back in against you. And then you got to figure out, I'm a left-hander, so is it for me 10 to 12? Where in that mix does the holster go? But I found it real comfortable. I do 12, 13-hour drives to gun site carrying that way. And pretty much you can keep shaking your head. It's okay. I got it. But it does work for me, but I just have to work on making sure that the wedge is there to help stabilize it.
I didn't hear anything that you said after you said that a large pistol works better than a small pistol.
Yeah. For me, it does.
I was actually kidding. I totally agree with you on Glad you didn't get my joke, so let's
Sorry.
just keep it at that. Brent did. I absolutely agree with that. Right now, I am carrying a full-size staccato P with a streamlight on it. That's 17+1 and a light in an appendix holster with a spare mag, and it actually is easier to carry and conceal than anything I carry on the hip. So I was a hater for a long time, and then I said, I think for an article, I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm not going to try it for a day or a week. I'm going to try it for a couple of months. Literally every day, and learn all the tricks and all that. And I was converted.
I got a serious question here, guys. How much canter you do? I mean, if I put a full-size, a Glock 21 down the front of my pants, I'd be singing in the Vienna Boys Choir pretty quickly.
I'm not. I may have a slight bit of muzzle forward, grip rearward cant when it's in appendix, but it does sit down in that crease between the thigh and the groin. It sits there. It's not covering parts. It's not digging into parts when it's there. Just like if you were carrying inside the waistband at 3 or 9 o'clock, right? You make sure there's enough trouser room for you to get stuff in there and not like hate yourself. So closed size has something to do with it.
Technical term. Make sure you have ample trouser room.
Yeah. We'll go with ample trouser room.
The key is tweaking. Now, Nick doesn't have to worry about this because he's like a lean, mean fighting machine young guy, right? But, I won't speak for the rest of you, but I got a couple extra pounds around the waist, so I figured it was never going to be possible for me. But Erick hit on something very important earlier, and that is the foam wedge. Makes all the difference. And you can cut out a piece of foam at home, closed cell works better, slap it on the back of the holster towards the bottom, and that is the miracle cure, folks, because it just situates that, even a full-size gun, just kind of perfectly. Combine that with maybe a little bit higher ride height if your holster adjusts for that. And I can sit all day, even in a car. The only thing, I will be honest here, the only thing that gets me with appendix is a couple of types of movements, like getting into a car because you kind of over compress a little bit compared to when you're actually in the seat. And I think, Nick, you said something when we were talking, what was it, tying shoes or something like that, or sitting on the floor trying to tie shoes?
Sitting on the floor trying to put your socks and shoes on, that tends to be a problem. But I think the biggest solution for me, and I think talking about the wedge, I think Klinger Holsters makes one if you don't want to make your own. But for me, ride height tends to be the most important.
Couple things I have found, aside from the wedge, is I take into consideration the grip texture. If the guns have been overly textured or stippled, it can be uncomfortable on the tummy without like an undershirt with it, right? One of the reasons I gravitated to the MMPs after years of carrying 1911s is I like the fact the pistol has a thumb safety. And I was listening to a presentation with Mike Seeklander a week or two ago where he was talking about appendix carry, and he doesn't like to do it unless he has a pistol with a thumb safety on it, which I'm in absolute agreement with. The other, I would say if you're going to carry Glocks, then consider the Gadget or the Striker control device that's now being made by the guys at Langdon that gives you some tactile indication your trigger's not being pressed while you're holstering.
So safety is a concern.
Well, just like going back to your holster, right? Strong side hip. I had to investigate the negligent discharge by a coworker who was reholstering with his finger on the trigger and launched around to his leg. And that was an outside the hip holster, outside the waistband holster. It happens, right? You can't do stupid things and expect to have a good outcome.
Well, and that's another thing that I hear a lot. People talking about, what's right there is your femoral artery. It's so dangerous. But those same people will carry on their hip and they have to twist their body and turn to kind of halfway see what they're doing. And now they're pointing a gun exactly at their femoral artery just from the other side. So really it all comes down to safe gun handling, not the position that you're carrying.
Rather than getting into a hurry to go back to the holster, that's one of the places to take that pause, take that extra second, visually clear the inside of the holster, and then watch the muzzle down into it. If you encounter any resistance at all, stop. Get the pistol out of there, figure out what's causing the resistance, and then reholster.
Okay, so we've jumped right into tips and tricks on this, but why? I have a question. Why did you guys move to appendix carry from other methods?
In my case, it was just better concealment. It concealed better for me than outside the waistband strong side hip.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a police officer, and he carries on his hip, and more than a handful of times he got out of his truck and his gun was fully exposed. He doesn't care because he can just show his badge and be like, "Oh, don't worry, guys, I'm a cop," and everyone's just, "Oh, okay." But a lot of people out there don't have that luxury, and they don't want to, get kicked out of Chili's. So concealment.
Your assistant is awake.
Yeah, yes, she is.
Now, that's the reason I tried it. I was for those that have been following us for a while, I got a new knee that's almost 4 months old, and I'm out doing my rehab, trying to walk a couple of miles a day, and it's been really hot here. Check your local listings. And I had just a very light t-shirt and a pair of shorts that did have a belt, so I didn't have any problem that way, but the t-shirt was so light and it was a little bit tight, and as I was walking out the door, I thought, boy, you can really see my gun, and in my neighborhood, I think everybody knows me, there wouldn't be any problem, but I just don't like people to know I'm carrying a gun, so I thought, well, all you cool kids are doing it, so let's try this, and it's like, you can't see that gun at all. So I totally get it. I really do. I'll tell you the part that's just got me completely hung up after this discussion, though. A full-size pistol with a light, and you're setting down, and you're not talking like this?
No.
Well, only on weekends.
You are, Brett. You are.
No, it just worked. It's that positioning just works. The high ride, the foam wedge, it all comes together, and I was going to say one beautiful package, but boy, that sounds wrong. I agree with the concealment. I wear shorts and a t-shirt every day, and piece of cake. Conceal that, what I just described, all day, every day under a t-shirt. No problem. But what really did it for me was, as I'm getting slightly more mature, I'm not quite as flexible as I used to be. And I found my error rate, because I always carry inside the waistband because I'm a concealed carry, so I don't have a badge to flash, right? The error rate of reaching across and getting the cover garment out of the way and doing a clean draw with no snag has been steadily increasing over the past couple of years, and I don't like that at all. And I know there's some ways around it. You can kind of lift up the shirt with your drawing hand and then grab the gun and then hold it up with the other and stuff like that, and that works, but it's slower. I tell you, my appendix draw is 2/3 the speed of a strong sight hip draw.
And it makes you a cool kid. And don't we all want to be cool kids?
I know it's kind of the current fashion, but it's not new. If you look back through history, we go through cycles of the appendix stuff. I've got pictures of Bruce Nelson rolling appendix late 60s, early 70s. I've got the Cowboys rolling that way in the 1800s. And then if you wanted to go back to the Pirates, they were doing it back farther than that. Right?
I was going to say Doc Holliday.
Cyclical. Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't one of the characters in the original Miami Vice carry appendix?
I don't remember.
What? Hold it, guys. One of the characters, you don't know who the characters were? Crockett and Tubbs.
That Nick knew about Miami Vice is a good sign.
I'm giving him credit for that. So.
Okay, for bonus points, you may know this one. What was the gun that it ended up being kind of the thing there for the first season and really got popular, and then people realized the gun was not all that?
The Brent 10, the pistol without magazines?
Exactly. I just said that because the magazine article I just laid out, Masad Ayub, on handguns, he was talking about the Bren 10 and Crockett and Tubbs. So, see, it all comes full circle here at Gun Cranks. Well, guys, any parting thoughts on appendix carry? Look, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to work with it more. Tom, you may have to come over here and readjust my pants or something, but we'll not film that, okay?
You just hold your breath while I'm on my way, okay?
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for joining us on this special four-way edition. That just seems weird, I know, of the Gun Cranks. I've got to talk about, make sure you visit gunsmagazine.com, americanhandgunner.com. You've got americancop.com, and of course all of talk about our YouTube stuff there, Nick. You're kind of rolling in charge of that.
Yeah, sure. So our YouTube channel, Guns and American Handgunner, have a YouTube channel that I've been making a lot of videos for. We have some exclusive stuff also. We just released the LC carbine from Ruger. That video came out on the day that was launched. So you can get some exclusive stuff. You can also see some inside video on some of the classes that some of our writers and editors attend. Brent, we just put one up where you were with Steve Tarani at one of his protective classes. That was pretty cool.
And Nic is coming from television. He kind of worked behind the scenes, and now he's here and he's in front of the camera a lot, and he's learning the joys of hate mail. So come in, stop in, leave some really hateful and mean-spirited stuff, and Nic will feel like he's part of the crowd. But no, seriously, make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you leave us some comments and tell us whether you carry Appendix or not and why, and the problems you found. And other than that, I would be remiss in saying check out, I believe it's DIY number 30, special interest publication, right, Tom?
You got it. Soon to be followed by Old West, Guns, History, and Gear. So yep.
Good stuff. You can get that on our websites or at Amazon.com. And I don't remember if I mentioned there's this little podcast we call the Guns Magazine Podcast with Moi as your host. And make sure you check that out. It is one of America's most popular gun podcasts, if you can believe that. So that's it for this special four-way episode, I just keep saying that, of the Gun Cranks. On behalf of Erick Gelhaus, Nic Lenze, Tom McHale, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. We will see you next time.